The 2024 Europa League is finally back again, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions for the first match day in the league phase. In today's video, I will be predicting the scorelines for every single match in the first match day. And obviously, if you guys want me to continue this series throughout the Europa League, remember to leave a like on this video and leave a comment down below. To be honest, some of these Europa League teams I don't know too much about, but I am going to try and do my best to give accurate predictions. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. Starting off with the first matchup, we have AZ Alkmaar against Elfsborg. Now, a lot of people might not know much about Elfsborg, and to be honest, before I did research for this video, I didn't even know they existed, but I do know that they are a team that plays in the Swedish division, and they are a pretty good team in that league. But obviously, AZ Alkmaar are definitely the favorites in this game. They currently sit second place in the Eredivisie, and they are a fairly common team that we see most years in either the Europa League or in the Conference League. In this game, they are playing in the Netherlands, and for that reason, I think Alkmaar will win this game 3-1. Moving on to the next game, we have Bodo Glimt against FC Porto. Bodo Glimt are a Norwegian team that are actually very good, and last season in the Conference League, they did surprisingly well, making it out of their group and almost beating Ajax in the knockout stages. Obviously, they did eventually go out, but that performance was much better than what a lot of people thought. But obviously, FC Porto are probably one of the more well-known teams in the Europa League. Usually, they do play in the Champions League, and they are usually a very good team and a very underrated team. This season in the Portuguese league, they are currently in second place. They're doing very well. And against Bodo Glimt, even though they are playing in Norway, I do think Porto will probably win this game 2-0. Moving on to the next game, we have Anderlecht against Ferencváros. Anderlecht are another very well-known team in the Belgium league, and usually we don't see them making it that far in these UEFA competitions, but they are a very well-known team for producing amazing young Belgian players. Ferencváros, on the other hand, are a team from Hungary, and last season in the Conference League, they didn't make it that far. They got knocked out in the first round, but they got knocked out to Olympiacos, who eventually did go ahead and win the Conference League. And in recent years, we have seen Ferencváros play very, very well in these UEFA competitions. And for that reason, even though they are playing away, they're playing in Belgium, I do think Ferencváros will just win this game, and I think they will win 2-1. The next game we have is Dynamo Kiev against Lazio. Because of the current war that's going on in Russia and Ukraine, the Ukrainian teams are not allowed to play at home, and for that reason, this game will be played in Germany. Dynamo Kiev are usually a pretty good team in these UEFA competitions, but due to the fact that they don't have the home advantage, I think Lazio will pretty comfortably win this game. They're an amazing team. They've made some incredible signings this summer that I think have really improved their team and their squad from previous seasons, and for that reason, I think they will most likely win this game, and I think the scoreline will be 3-1 to Lazio. The next game we got is FC Midtjylland against Hoffenheim. FC Midtjylland are a team from Denmark, and I am sorry if I did not pronounce that name. It's like a crazy name with a bunch of letters, and I just don't really know how to say it. But Hoffenheim are definitely the favorites in this matchup. Obviously, the game is being played in Denmark, and Hoffenheim are usually a pretty good team in the Bundesliga. Last season, they finished in 7th place. Now, this season, they haven't really got off to the best start, but I do think that they will still win this game, and I think the scoreline will be 1-0. Moving on to the next game, we have Galatasaray against PAOK FC. PAOK are a team from the Greek league, while Galatasaray are a very, very well-known team in the Turkish league. Usually we do see them playing in the Champions League, and they usually are a very good team in that competition. Again, similar to some of these other outside the top 5 league teams, they're always a very underrated team, and usually we can see them beat some of these very good teams. And in this game, with the home advantage, I think it will be no problem for them. They have recently signed Victor Osimhen from Napoli, who, obviously, me being a Napoli fan, I love Victor Osimhen. He is an amazing player, and I think he will do great things for Galatasaray this season. And in this game, playing at home, I think they will smoke PAOK FC. I think the scoreline will be 4-0 for Galatasaray. The next game we got is Ludogorets against Slavia Prague. Last season, we saw Ludogorets play in the Conference League, where they did finish in second place in the group stages, making it into the knockout stages. Now, they did get knocked out in the first round, but they are actually a very underrated team, and they could possibly pull off an upset against Slavia Prague. But Slavia Prague are the favorites. We've seen them play in the Champions League, in the Europa League, and the Conference League. They are a pretty common team in these UEFA competitions, and for that reason, I do think they will win this game away, and I think the scoreline will be 2-1 to Slavia Prague. The next game we got, and this is a big one, Manchester United against FC Twente. FC Twente are a team in the Netherlands, and in recent years, they have been playing very well, finishing in the top 5 for the last 3 seasons in a row. This season, they haven't got off to the best start, but neither have Manchester United, who currently sit around mid-table in the Premier League. Obviously, Manchester United are the favorites in this game. They are a very good team. They are obviously one of the English giants and one of the best teams throughout history. But in recent years, they haven't looked that convincing, especially under Ten Hag. Yes, they have won trophies, but they haven't been playing the best football. Now, this summer, they made some incredible transfers, in my opinion, signing players like Xerxes, De Ligt, Mazraoui, and a few other incredible players. And in this game, they are playing at home. I do think this will be a pretty easy win for them. I think they're going to win 3-1. Moving on to the next game, we have Nice against Real Sociedad. This, in my opinion, is going to be one of the best matchups in this first match day in the Europa League. I think both of these teams are very good teams. One team usually finishes near the top of the Liga, while the other team is a very good team in the La Liga. But which team do I think will win? I think it's going to be a draw. Both of these teams are very good teams, and they both have a lot of experience in these UEFA competitions, in the Champions League, the Europa League, the Conference League. We've seen them in all of these. Now, Real Sociedad haven't had the best start to the season, but I do think with their experience from last season playing in the Champions League, I do think they may have the upper hand over Nice in this game. I think they might play better. They may have more possession, more shots, but with the home advantage, I do think Nice will be able to at least get 1 point from this game, and for that reason, I think the scoreline will be a 1-1 draw. The next game we got is Fenerbahce against Union Saint-Gilloise. Union Saint-Gilloise are a very good team, another Belgium team, and again, we see them produce a lot of incredible talents. Most notably, one of their recent amazing players that they've produced is Victor Boniface, who is currently lighting it up at Bayer Leverkusen. But Fenerbahce are always a very strong team in the Turkish league. They usually end up finishing in the top 3. They're always fighting against Galatasaray for that top spot. And in this game, they are playing at home. I do think they definitely have the advantage over Union Saint-Gilloise. And for that reason, I think Fenerbahce will win this game 2-0. The next game we got is Malmo FF against Rangers. Malmo are another Swedish club that usually do finish first place in that league. And currently, they do sit in first place. But Rangers are a very well-known club. We usually see them in these competitions, and in the Scottish division, they usually finish either first or second place, and they're always fighting against Celtic for that top spot. And in this game, yes, they are playing in Sweden, but I think Rangers are simply the better team. I think it will be a very close game, but I'm going to predict that Rangers win this game 2-1. Moving on to the next game, we have Ajax against Besiktas. This game is going to be another very close game in my opinion. Besiktas are usually a pretty good team in the Turkish league, and they usually do finish in the top 5, while Ajax throughout the last decade have been one of the best teams in the Eredivisie. They usually finish either first or second place. But in recent years, we have seen a really big drop off, where last season they finished in 5th place and they were not performing well at all. And this season so far, they currently sit pretty low down the table. Obviously, Ajax do have the better players, they have the home advantage, and they definitely have more experience in these UEFA competitions. And for that reason, I do think they will win this game, but I think it's going to be very close. It will be a very tight game, and I'm going to predict that Ajax win this game 1-0. The next game we got is Braga against Maccabi Tel Aviv. Braga are a team that play in the Portuguese league, and last season we saw them play okay in the Champions League. They didn't really do much, but we saw a couple good games from them against the likes of Napoli and also against some of the other teams in their group. Maccabi Tel Aviv, on the other hand, are a team from Israel who are usually very underrated, but sometimes we do see them pull off with upsets in these UEFA competitions. But in this game, with Braga having the home advantage, I do think they will win this game 2-0. The next game we got is Frankfurt against Victoria Pilsen. To be honest, I didn't know who Victoria Pilsen was before last season, when they were sadly put in the group of death in the Champions League with Inter Milan, Bayern Munich, and Barcelona. And although they did get absolutely smashed in that group, I could see some potential from their team. But in this game, with Frankfurt being a very strong team in the Bundesliga, they obviously have the home advantage. I do think it will be a pretty easy win for them. I'm going to predict that Frankfurt win this game 3-0. The next game we got is FCSB against RFS. To be honest, I had no idea who both of these teams were before I looked into doing research for this video. I had no idea. I've never heard of these teams before in my life. FCSB are a team from Romania that usually finish towards the top of the table, but this season they have not had a good start and they currently sit mid-table. When on the other hand, RFS are a team from Latvia that usually finish top of the table, and this season they do currently sit in first place. Honestly, I've never seen both of these teams play, so I can't really make a good and accurate prediction, so I'm just going to predict a 2-2 draw. The next game we got is Lyon against Olympiacos. Obviously, Olympiacos are a very well-known team in the Greek Super League, and Lyon are also a very well-known team from the Ligue 1. And in this game, I think both of these teams have a very good chance of winning this game. Obviously, Lyon are a good team, but Olympiacos last season are the winners of the Conference League. They had a great UEFA competition last year. They did very well. They beat Fiorentina in the final, and it was pretty unexpected in my opinion. This season in the Ligue 1, Lyon are not performing that well. They have been very inconsistent. We've already seen them get a few losses, and for that reason, even though they are playing at home, I think Olympiacos will win this game 3-1. Moving on to the next game, we have AS Roma against Athletic Club. Roma do have the home advantage in this game, which in my opinion is a big advantage because the Stadio Olimpico is probably one of the toughest stadiums to go to, yet alone to win away at. So for that reason, I think Athletic Club will have a very hard time. But Athletic Club last season was a very good team. They ended up finishing very high in the La Liga, and they even won the Copa del Rey, which was very surprising. Roma have started off the season very poorly in the Serie A, and after their first 4 matches, they have already sacked their manager Daniele De Rossi, which in my opinion was a little bit of a mistake. So for that reason, I think this will be a very close game between both of these teams. Roma are definitely the favorites, but I think it will be very close. It could go either way. I'm going to predict that Roma win 2-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if Athletic Club could pull off a draw or maybe even an upset. And finally, moving on to the final game, we have Tottenham against Karabag FK. Tottenham are obviously a very good team, and last season they did do very well in the Premier League. But this season so far, they have not been performing very well. We've seen them draw against Leicester, they lost against Newcastle, they lost against Arsenal, and in their recent game in the EFL Cup, they almost lost against Coventry. They went down early on in the second half. So Tottenham in recent weeks have not been performing very well. And in this game against Karabag FK, who are a team that are notoriously known for causing major upsets, I think they might struggle. Last season in the Europa League, Karabag did much better than expected, where they ended up advancing from their group stages, they ended up advancing from the round of 16, and in the quarterfinals, they were coming up against Leverkusen, and they almost won both of those fixtures if it wasn't for some incredibly late goals by Leverkusen in the 90th minute and even in added time. I think Karabag are a very underrated team, and this, in my opinion, is going to be the biggest upset in the first match day. I think Karabag are going to beat Tottenham. I'm going to say that Karabag end up beating Tottenham 2-1, and Tottenham, they're going to have a lot of problems if they lose this game. And that is the end of my Europa League predictions for the first match day in the 2024-25 league phase. If you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But if you guys disagree with my predictions and you think there might be some upsets here and there, again, remember to leave your predictions in the comments down below. If you guys want to keep seeing more Europa League predictions, remember to leave a like on this video. And obviously, if you did enjoy this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.